a Dear Media original podcast.
Hi, welcome to Good Instincts. I'm Shira Barlow, but you may know me as the food therapist. Join me every Monday through Friday for bite-sized episodes designed to help you close the gap between where you are right now and where you want to go. This should feel good, like really good. And it will, I promise. Today, we are joined by Carly Kremer, founder of Beekeepers Naturals and environmentalist. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
So I hear so many benefits on royal jelly, and I think probably a lot of listeners at home are curious too. So I was wondering if you could actually just break that down first.
Yes, I can totally do that. So royal jelly, first of all, royal jelly is getting a lot of love on TikTok. I love that you're asking this question because I feel like everyone knows honey, pollen, but people are like, what is royal jelly?
Yes.
So I'll start just kind of by breaking it down.
That'd be great.
Royal jelly you can think of as the superfood of the hive. So for newborn baby bees, for the first 3 to 5 days of development, they're given royal jelly the same way humans are given breast milk. So it's really nourishing. It's a really nourishing nutritive substance. And then after 3 to 5 days, the baby bees transition off of royal jelly onto a more normal bee diet of honey and pollen. And only the bee who's to become the queen bee continues on her exclusive royal jelly diet. And just looking at the biology in the hive, the queen bee develops very differently. The queen bee will lay, up to 1,500 babies a day. So incredibly fertile versus other female bees that don't have reproductive organs. The queen bee will live 3 to 5 years versus regular bees during foraging season who live 6 to 8 weeks. And the queen bee is much stronger. So we're seeing in the hive, royal jelly is creating a ton of differences when consumed on a regular basis. And so it's a really interesting substance. It's been used across cultures for thousands of years. So in traditional Chinese medicine, a lot of people look at royal jelly as a substance to help balance hormones. We see a lot of TCM practitioners when they're taking women off of birth control, putting them on a royal jelly supplement.
Wow.
To kind of stabilize. For me, I'm planning a pregnancy. So I'm taking that royal jelly every day.
I love that.
My husband as well. I've got him downing it. But most of Western science focuses on royal jelly and how it affects the brain. So royal jelly is a really effective nootropic. It's really powerful for focus, memory, concentration. It's also really well known for anti-aging. So a lot of people may have heard of it in that capacity, but most of the published science in the Western sphere are really focused on how it affects the brain, which is really interesting. And it does that in a few ways.
I was going to ask you about that because Lauren Bostick of Dear Media talks about it as basically liquid Adderall. Is that kind of the idea behind it?
Honestly, I seriously have cut back on caffeine and our brain fuel shots, which have royal jelly, ginkgo biloba, and bacopa monnieri. So it's the royal jelly from the hive. And then they've got 2 other adaptogens in there. Game changer. Every afternoon, I take my shot and I am in the zone. And it's really cool because there's no caffeine and there's no, there's no sugars, there's no fillers, nothing like that. And so you get just kind of a clean focus, but it's really, really changed my workflow and it's kind of cool. So if you don't mind me nerding out for a second on how royal jelly actually affects the brain, I'd love to do
I am curious.
Okay, so royal jelly contains 2 naturally occurring fatty acids. One's called 10-HDA, the other is called AMP-N1 oxide. And they basically act as a catalyst for neurogenesis. So it literally helps your brain to create new, clean, fresh brain cells. So that's why, you often see people who have had a concussion or members of the aging population who are concerned or have a predisposition towards a neurodegenerative condition taking royal jelly. But for the average person just looking to support their workflow and get in the zone and make stuff happen, royal jelly is really, really effective at supporting overall brain health. And then it also contains acetylcholine, which is a neurotransmitter responsible for brain-body connection.
Yep.
All of these things kind of slow down. Our body produces less as we age. When we're exposed to carcinogens or mold or whatever it is, these things can get disruptive. So royal jelly is a super nourishing substance that really supports your brain. It's one of the best things you can do to support your brain.
Wow.
And there's actually studies that have been published from University of Warsaw that found that regular consumption of royal jelly improves your spatial reasoning. So it is a holistically nourishing nutritive substance, but something that is really high impact when it comes to supporting brain health, supporting memory formation, productivity. It's one of my favorite tools.
It's so interesting that it can do all of those things. And as you were talking about it originally, it sounds like it's basically the colostrum of the bees.
That's exactly what it is.
I wanted to go back to the fertility of it all because I do think that not just with fertility, but I've also heard in terms of like cramps and PMS symptoms.
So there's a new study that just came out and it's looking at women going through menopause. And it found that 1,000 milligrams a day of royal jelly actually meaningfully reduced menopause symptoms.
Wow.
So that's a really cool thing because I know a lot of women grapple with that. And there's a lot of symptoms that just aren't really talked about that go alongside that. In terms of like reproductive health, women's health is so understudied, which is a pain point for all of us. But, I see a lot of, including my doctor, not knowing that I work with bee products, not knowing I'm a beekeeper, she suggested I take royal jelly when I was like asking her, what can I do to support fertility? I'm planning, doing family planning. And I was like, oh yeah, I know about that. So it's just a really good tool to kind of balance your hormones. So yeah, I'm using it. I actually have it right here because I'm in my kitchen right now, but I do a spoon of our superfood honey every single morning. And so this one, it's a raw honey, but it contains medicinal grade dosages of all the superfoods from the hive. So in 1 teaspoon, I'm getting 745 milligrams of royal jelly, 532 milligrams of pollen, and 43 milligrams of propolis. So I like put that in my smoothie in the morning, or I just have it on the spoon. And that's like a great way to get it in. But then I'm also, I take the brain fuel shots in the afternoon. So I get a lot.
I'm so glad you mentioned propolis because that's different, right?
Yes. So I feel like in North America, we're kind of just learning about all of the different bee products. I think for a long time, people were only familiar with honey, which is awesome. I love honey, but there are so many different bee products. So maybe I should just do like a quick Hive 101. Royal jelly is superfood of the hive. You can think of it as like colostrum, breast milk, amazing for brain health, nourishing, all the fun stuff.
Yeah.
Pollen, really quick. It's the protein source of the hive. For humans, it's like nature's multivitamin, broad spectrum vitamins, minerals, amazing for pre-workout, high in B vitamins, really, really great. Propolis, you can think of as the medicine of the hive or the immune system of the hive. So literally the base ingredients of propolis, what it is how if you cut open a tree, sap will trickle out?
Yeah.
So that's the immuno-properties of the plant itself. The bees are going plant to plant and collecting plant and tree resins. So literally collecting the sap, collecting the immuno-properties of the plant, mixing it with their enzymes, and they make this sticky amber colored substance called propolis, and they use it to line the hive and keep it germ-free.
Oh.
So the base ingredient of propolis is actually totally different than honey. Honey comes from flowers. Propolis is coming from plant and tree resins, and it's coming from literally the immuno-properties of the tree itself.
Wow.
So yeah, so for the hive, it's literally the building blocks of their immune system. It's how they protect themselves from germs, pathogens. For humans, you can use it in the same way. So I think of propolis as like my bodyguard in a bottle. I'm taking it every day and it's really high in antioxidants, really high in flavonoids, polyphenols. People love propolis for inflammation. It has amazing effects there. It actually affects the histamine response. So it's really effective for reducing allergies. But, it's antiviral, antifungal, antimicrobial. It's a really great way to support your overall immune health. And unlike other immune boosters, for me, I'm autoimmune and immune boosters can be tricky for people who are autoimmune.
Right.
So that's kind of how I got into beekeeping in the first place, because I had such a weak immune system. I was always sick. And this pharmacist put me on propolis and, I learned about bee products and how they act as immunomodulatory agents. So they actually work with your system. So for someone like me, it's safe and effective. And so it for me really became a tool to stay healthy, support and regulate my immune system.
That's incredible. I actually think that that is all so important. Even the things that you think that you know about those products, you just gave such an incredible overview. And it makes sense how each one does something different. And I think in terms of a lot of times people do talk about the immune system with honey and all of that, but it sounds like it is specifically the propolis.
Yeah, when you're talking immune system, you want to go propolis. I love honey. It does have antiviral effects. It's full of antioxidants. It's like the healthiest sweetener you can go with. But if you want to like hit that immune system, we're going propolis all the way. It's also really good for gut health because it affects inflammation.
Right.
Yeah. So it's a prebiotic as well. So a lot of different things you can do with it.
Now, I know a lot of your products are liposomal. And I wanted to touch on that a little bit because I think there are so many liposomal products out there now, different types of supplements. And they're obviously more expensive, but I do think that there is a way in which they're a lot more bioavailable. But I think that you could speak really beautifully on, do we need liposomal products? Is it really worth it? And like, what are you taking at home kind of thing?
Yeah. So I think there's a lot of great products out there. It's not like you have to do liposomal or nothing. But the truth is, and the reason we came out with a liposomal product is because liposomal is a really effective delivery system. So you can think of it as you're ingesting it and you're taking nutrients into your cells, and you're allowing the nutrients to get where they need to go within your body. And so we came out with a liposomal propolis plus vitamin C. Vitamin C, once you start taking it over a certain dosage, your body absorbs less and less. And so vitamin C is really important. It's important for immune health. It's important for collagen formation, for healthy skin. It's important for recovery after exercise. It's a really important protective antioxidant. And if you want to get it in a high dose, which a lot of us do, myself included, liposomal is really the way to go about it because your body can absorb more of that. So, I like to explain to people, yes, you're paying more for it, but your body's getting more. When you take a capsule, oftentimes you're titrating, your body only absorbs a certain percent of it and you're peeing out the rest. So you're kind of paying for really expensive pee.
Yeah.
With liposomal, your body is really able to pull the nutrients out. And so for somebody who struggles with absorption or is dealing with something chronic and really wants like a impactful dose, I always recommend liposomal. And ours has 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C, 100 milligrams of propolis. So it's just a really effective way to kind of get those two together.
Are there any supplements aside from the ones in your line that you're loving that are kind of in your wellness toolkit?
Yeah. So honestly, I started this company because I have the most sensitive system. And so it was really hard for
Same.
me to take supplements. It was a frustrating experience. I'd buy like the most expensive, all natural, you name it, and I'd have a skin reaction or, something like that. And so I really kind of engineered this line for people like me. Everything that we make, I take. Like literally, there is not a product that we make that I don't take every day. Maybe one of them, I don't take our sinus support capsules other than in springtime, but that's the only one. Like everything else I'm taking every day. But I am taking a Thorne prenatal. I really like Thorne.
Yeah.
They just do a lot of testing. I kind of see the back end of it. And
Sure.
everything that we make at Beekeepers Naturals is third-party pesticide tested, and we go through NPN certification. And people don't even realize this, but we're selling our products at Whole Foods, Target, and they're available to everyone. But our early customers were people who are like severely immunocompromised. So we put a lot of energy into purity testing and quality testing. And because of that, I'm completely insane about all supplements and like don't trust anything. So Thorne, I've done a lot of research and I really like that brand. Designs for Health is also a good one.
You bring up something really important about like the different testing. If you are listening at home, what are some things that you could look into in terms of the fine print of, if you were, obviously your products are extremely clean and well thought out, but beyond your products, if someone was looking at a label, are there any specific things that could be helpful to people when they're looking at supplements?
Totally. So first of all, for bee products specifically, you want to look for third-party pesticide tested. Organic doesn't really matter. Organic's like nice. But if you think about it for bees, you can't put a leash on them. So just because the hive sits on certified organic land, it doesn't mean that the neighbors aren't spraying something and the bees aren't flying over and getting exposure.
Right.
So organic doesn't really do the trick. You want to look for third-party pesticide tested. And that's hard because, for me, I'm autoimmune, so I have to be careful, but I'm not comfortable buying honey at the farmer's market, unfortunately.
Yeah,
because
that
I
makes
don't know
sense.
if it's pesticide tested. And so bee products specifically, that's what you want to look for. Another good thing to look for. So in the US, it's kind of the FDA and then it's the Wild West. There's not a regulatory structure for natural, which is insane. But in other parts of the world, there is. So in Canada, for example, there's something called NPN, natural product number. And to get an NPN, you have to legally validate all the health claims you're making on the product. And so all of the Beekeepers products have NPNs. Thorne supplement, they have NPNs. And so that's like another sort of life hack thing to look for that people should know about.
I think that's really important. And I think people will really appreciate that, especially if they're family planning or they have autoimmune stuff. So Thank you so much. Carly, where can we find you? Where can we find your products?
Yeah, so we are all over Instagram. If you want to learn more about our products, you want to learn more about the cause, the bees, how to save them, what we're doing, you can check us out. We're beekeepersnaturals.com. Our Instagram is beekeepers_naturals. My Instagram is carly.kremer. We'd love to hear from you. And if you're interested in the products, we're on our website. We're on Amazon, Whole Foods, Target, CVS, Erewhon. We've worked really hard to get our products out there.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, we're pretty accessible at this point.
I'm really excited for you. And this was so educational also.
Thank you so much. This is so fun.
Thank you so much for listening to Good Instincts, hosted and written by me, Shira Barlow. You can find me on Instagram at Shira_RD. Good Instincts is a Dear Media daily,